What's going on, guys? Today we are going to talk about Mr. Boom Boom Geoffrion. Picked this up at the Sports Card Expo, and although I don't like these screw downs, that is one of the cleanest autos. These are from, I believe, the early or the mid 90s, the Missing Link Parkhurst sets, hand numbered out of 956. Just a beautiful image. There was one of these, a Bellevue, and I forget who else, but I've got a few Bellevues, and sadly did not have a Bernie Geoffrion. So I thought this is perfect. So I've got to just stand that just so because of the glare. That should work. And let's talk about Bernie Boom Boom Geoffrion, elected to the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1972. Started his career in 1951 with the Montreal Canadiens and played up until 1964 when he retired, and then came out of retirement 2 years later to play for the Rangers. He played 2 seasons for them. Played 117 games for them, amassing 63 points. So not too bad, considering he'd been out of hockey for 2 years. Coached a little bit. He was his first year out of retirement. He had a winning record for the Rangers, but resigned due to health problems. And then he was the first coach of the expansion Atlanta Flames, where he led them for 3 seasons. Missed the playoffs the first year. Pretty acceptable. Second year, finished 4th in the West and lost in the quarterfinals. Third year, midway through the season, they were 4th, and he was fired. And then in 1979-80, he returned to coaching to coach 1 year with his beloved Montreal Canadiens. Coached 30 games, but resigned due to health problems. What else can we talk about? Played in 883 games, amassing 822 points. Was a 50-goal scorer. He did that in 1960-61. Several awards. He won the Calder Trophy as Rookie of the Year in 1952. He was also an 11-time, participated in the All-Star Game 11 times. Was an NHL second team All-Star in 1955 and 60. Won the Art Ross as a scoring champion in 55 and 61. Won 6 Stanley Cups, the Hart Trophy in 61, first team All-Star in 1961, and his number 5 was retired on March 11th, 2006, and in 2017 was named one of the 100 greatest athletes. So there's a lot of things I could talk about and go on and on, believe it or not, about Boom Boom Geoffrion. Appeared in the Miller Lite commercials of the 70s. Tastes great, less filling. But the 2 things that I wanted to really focus on was his jersey retirement night. So this is a pretty sad story. So the Canadiens announced on October 15th, 2005 that his number would be retired, and it would be retired on March 11th, 2006. On March 8th, 3 days before, Geoffrion was diagnosed with stomach cancer after a surgical procedure uncovered it. They attempted to remove the tumor, but found the cancer had spread. Geoffrion died on the day they were to raise his retired jersey, March 11th, 2006. And, during the retirement ceremony, which they carried on with, his son, Bob, recounted how his parents had once gone to a boxing match at the Montreal Forum, and that Geoffrion told his wife Marlene that one day his number would be in the rafters beside her father. Because Boom Boom Geoffrion married the daughter of Habs legend Howie Morenz. And another touching story, the two numbers were raised side by side. So what they did was they lowered Morenz's number 7, that was already raised, halfway down. And when Geoffrion's met up with them, they both went to the rafters at the same time, which was a very, very touching moment. And Boom Boom's son played NHL hockey, and in 2012 his son Blake was traded from the Nashville Predators to the Montreal Canadiens, and decided to both honor his grandfather Howie Morenz his grandfather, wasn't his son, Boom Boom Geoffrion, as well as his great grandfather Howie Morenz, by wearing number 57, the two numbers, the 5 for his grandfather and the 7 for his great-grandfather. So, has tons of pedigree in his family. His son, I'm just trying to read here. His one son, Dan, played 5 seasons with the Quebec Nordiques and Montreal Canadiens, and Winnipeg Jets. His grandson, Blake, we told you about him. His son-in-law was Heartland Monahan, who played in the NHL for several teams in the 70s. His grandson, Shane Monahan, played Major League Baseball for the Seattle Mariners in the late 90s. Yeah, so quite the pedigree for Boom Boom Geoffrion. I've kind of rambled on, and there's so many other stories about him, but really a fascinating character. And I think if you guys have the time, and again, I read this stuff from Wikipedia because I too am learning just like you. There's some fantastic stories about Boom Boom Geoffrion. So if you ever have the time, just Google his name, go to his Wikipedia page. There's something about his wife as a descendant from the early French, where she was, a relative to a king, and just really an interesting story there. So there you have it, guys. The legend that is Mr. Boom Boom Bernie Geoffrion. Take care.